Hi everyone, this is Ryan B with Practical Forex Trading. This is your pound yen analysis, Great British Pound, Japanese yen weekly analysis. The date is January 26, 2020. So just to give you a bit of context, when I'm looking at this descending, this downtrend, I'm looking at this downtrend that goes back quite a ways into the early 2000s. And we're seeing the price test the bottom of this descending trend channel. And we look back just over the last few years in this more of a horizontal fashion, and we see price recently touched this topmost 145.83. We've seen that as being kind of a ceiling here, some resistance. So anyways, let's go ahead and zoom in, but I want to give you some context to why I'm saying my sentiment is bearish for pound yen. Okay, so if we look at the daily, we see that some pretty big, we saw price test this last week, right? Last week we had a rally up to about 144.50 area. So it looked like for a heartbeat that price was going to go test 145 again, but then the following day it was pretty bearish, and then we've got this really big bearish, almost like evening star type of candle. A lot of selling occurred. And if we talk about this trend line being years old, let's go ahead and draw a parallel trend line. So like this, you want to match the angle of your other trend line. What this represents is a support and resistance zone over time. Just like we think about these zones, right, between R1 and R2 as horizontal, this is the same thing, but this is just over time, so it slopes a little bit. This will give us a good idea of where price may visit as the calendar year continues. So if you can think about it this way, price really, popped out of this triangle here. So we see our weekly R1 is at 144.08, meaning that price could test this, the bottom of this price triangle again. However, because this was so bearish the other day, we might see a continuation. We do have some support at 142.19, 141.51, so it might not be a clear breakthrough yet. Let's look at our 4-hour. Oops. Okay. There we go. This gives us a nice good view. So last week's price action, even though we had a number of bull runs, right, couldn't really clear this 144 line. Each time it was rejected. And we want to see these big rejections, right? If prices kind of bounces off something, we think we might get another revisit, but we see a pretty bearish rejection and price heading down towards this 142.19. We do have a bit of an ascending trend line, though, in the short term that pound yen is going to have to break through before we get an all clear, and that's right here. So there's also the chance that price could hang out in here for a bit, right? We see that over early 2020, even though it keeps going back up and down, it really hasn't broken south out of this triangle. So we've got a bit of a wedge happening, right? These price wedges. Now this also has a parallel. Okay, match that angle. We see how price, right, stalled below and above this line historically, and now price, after that quick upshot, was rejected and comes back down here. So I think what we might see for sure is a revisit to 142.19 or this 141.51 in order to get a clear break to be bearish to some old lows. Let's see, what is this last low? 135.65. We're going to need to see a breakthrough here first. What could happen is that price will continue down here to 141. Let's put a little number here, marker. Right. And then we can see another revisit to this triangle up here, right? This could be 2. This is one of those interesting crosses because, I mean, it is a risk currency versus a reserve currency, right? The yen's a reserve currency, but both of these are also heavily influenced by the U.S. dollar, so you get that kind of caught in the crossfire motion. So we could see also price do this 1, 2 before continuing down to 3. But because my overall observation is bearish, I'm looking for selling opportunities. Let's go ahead and go back to the daily, and I'm going to clear some of these indicators off. Sorry, my chart's a little bit messy. You want, if things ever get too cluttered, you want to just kind of do some erasing and start over. Now, I am bearish overall, so let's go ahead and look what I think that means. If price can break out of that triangle like we were talking about, right? That's a continuation of the downtrend. Let's go ahead and look at moving averages. Moving averages, you don't want to use them to indicate support and resistance. Right? I wouldn't recommend using them for support or resistance, but they do tell a pretty good story about how long you want to hold on to a trade. And you use historically what moving averages have said about price to help you gauge what might happen in the future. So for example, currently, okay, the other day, Friday, price started to move below the fast-moving average, the 20-day fast-moving average. We see just recently, right, it did it right here in September 2019, price went down a little bit. We see here it did it, then kind of fakeyed and shot back above. So if I see that same kind of fakey move, right, so where price, I have a giant bullish candle eclipse what happened, then I'm going to say, oh, okay, well, this short-term downtrend isn't over yet. I'm currently selling, so maybe I want to think about closing my shorts. However, if price makes a clear break of this, we look when price broke below the fast-moving average right here, right? That was, then we saw our next big decline. But we've also got our 50 moving average coming up here. It's still sitting above that. Price really needs to break through that. Once it does that, then that last big move that happened in spring of 19, we saw price go from 146 yen to 126 yen per pound. So a really big move. So, right, a little bit of a mixed pinch here. Let's go ahead and draw this. If price continues down and breaks below these moving averages, next test is support 142.19, then 141.51, then we'll see a return to our 200-day moving average of 138 or so. All right, everyone, have a great week trading. Good luck. Talk soon.